The envelope sat on my desk like a bomb. Inside, an invitation to my ex-fiancée's wedding. To the woman he chose over me. And a handwritten note that made my blood run cold. Please come, Elara. I need to see you one last time before I marry her. I hadn't spoken to Marcus Ashford in 3 years. 3 years since he shattered my heart into pieces so small I wasn't sure I'd ever find them all. And now he wanted me at his wedding? I should have burned that invitation. Should have blocked his number, thrown out every memory, moved on completely. Instead, I did something I'd regret for the rest of my life. I said yes. Let me take you back to where this nightmare started. 5 years ago, when I was 26 years old and stupidly, completely, devastatingly in love. Marcus Ashford wasn't just any man. He was the Marcus Ashford. Billionaire tech founder. Forbes 30 under 30. The kind of man who walked into rooms and conversations stopped. But when he looked at me, none of that mattered. I was working as a junior architect at a small firm in Seattle. Nothing glamorous. Designing residential homes, working late nights, dreaming of eventually making partner. My life was small, quiet, ordinary. Then Marcus walked into our office one Tuesday morning. His company was building a new headquarters. Something revolutionary, he said. He wanted a team that understood vision, not just blueprints. My boss practically threw me at him. I was young, hungry, full of ideas nobody had bothered to listen to yet. Marcus listened. That first meeting lasted 4 hours. We talked about sustainable design, about spaces that inspired creativity, about architecture as art instead of just function. He challenged every idea I had, pushed me to think bigger, dream wider. When I left that meeting, my hands were shaking. Not because he was rich or famous or powerful, but because someone finally saw what I could do. The project took 8 months. 8 months of late-night design sessions, of Marcus showing up at my tiny apartment with takeout, of conversations that started about work and ended about everything else. Our childhoods. Our dreams. Our fears. He told me about growing up poor, about building his company from nothing, about the loneliness of success. I told him about losing my parents in a car accident when I was 19, about putting myself through school, about feeling invisible in a world that valued connections over talent. You're not invisible to me, he said one night, his hand covering mine across the table. You're the most brilliant person I've ever met. I fell in love with him somewhere between Blueprint Revision 12 and the night he kissed me in the empty office, surrounded by design mock-ups and cold coffee. We kept it secret at first. He was my client. I was terrified of looking unprofessional, of people thinking I'd slept my way to success. But Marcus didn't care about appearances. Let them talk, he said. I know the truth. Your work speaks for itself. When the headquarters opened, it was featured in Architectural Digest, Fast Company, every major design publication. My name was on that project. My vision brought to life. Marcus proposed 3 months later. Not at some fancy restaurant or public spectacle. In the building we'd created together, in the atrium where sunlight poured through the glass ceiling I designed. You helped me build my company's home, he said, on one knee. Let me help you build ours. I said yes before he finished the question. We were engaged for a year. Planning a small wedding, just close friends and family. Nothing ostentatious despite his wealth. That wasn't who Marcus was, or who I was. But as the wedding approached, things started changing. Small things at first. Marcus working later, traveling more, distracted during dinners. I told myself it was business. His company was expanding internationally. These things required time and focus. Then came the bigger things. He started bringing Vanessa to company events. Vanessa Sterling, his new head of operations. Brilliant, beautiful, from his world in a way I never would be. Old money, elite education, the kind of polish that came from generations of privilege. She's just a colleague, Marcus said when I asked about her. We work closely together. It doesn't mean anything. But I saw how she looked at him. How she touched his arm when she laughed. How she fit into his world seamlessly, effortlessly, like she'd been designed for it. I tried to ignore the growing pit in my stomach. Tried to focus on wedding planning, on my own career, on trusting the man I loved. Then came the night that destroyed everything. I was working late at my office, finishing designs for a new project. Marcus was supposed to be at a board dinner. Said he'd be home by 11. At midnight, I called him. No answer. At 1 a.m., I called again. Nothing. At 2 a.m., I drove to his penthouse. Used my key. Let myself in. The apartment was dark except for a light in his home office. I heard voices. Low, intimate, laughing. I should have turned around. Should have left. Should have spared myself what came next. Instead, I pushed open that office door. Marcus and Vanessa were standing close, too close, her hand on his chest, his hand on her waist. They weren't kissing, but they might as well have been. The energy between them was thick, electric, unmistakable. They jumped apart when they saw me. Guilt written all over their faces. Elara, Marcus said. This isn't what it looks like. Then what is it? My voice sounded strange. Distant. Like it was coming from someone else's body. We were just talking. At 2 a.m. In the dark. Standing like that. Vanessa had the decency to look uncomfortable. I should go. No, I said. Stay. I want to hear this. I want to hear Marcus explain why his colleague has her hands all over him 2 months before our wedding. Elara, you're overreacting. Those words. Those fucking words. Am I? Am I overreacting, Marcus? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like you're having an emotional affair at minimum. And I'm supposed to what? Smile and plan our wedding like everything's fine? Nothing physical has happened. Yet, I said. Nothing physical has happened yet. But you want it to. Don't you? The silence was my answer. Marcus ran his hands through his hair, that gesture he made when he was stressed. I don't know what's happening. I care about you. I love you. But Vanessa and we have this connection. Get out, I said to Vanessa. Get the fuck out of his apartment. Now. She left quickly, heels clicking on hardwood, door closing softly behind her. I turned back to Marcus. This man I'd loved, trusted, built dreams with. Do you love her? I don't know. Do you still love me? Yes. But I also, he stopped. Started again. I'm confused, Elara. You and we're from different worlds. Sometimes I wonder if we're compatible long-term. Different worlds, I repeated numbly. You mean I'm not rich enough? Not connected enough? Not from the right background? That's not what I mean. Then what do you mean? Vanessa understands the pressure of this life. The expectations. The way business and personal blur together at this level. You're brilliant, Elara, but you don't understand that world. Sometimes I feel like I'm living 2 lives. The one with you, where I can be normal. And the one with my company, where I have to be Marcus Ashford. And Vanessa fits into the Marcus Ashford life. He didn't deny it. I pulled off my engagement ring. Set it on his desk between us. I'm not going to compete for you. I'm not going to beg you to choose me. If you're confused about whether you want to marry me, then you already have your answer. Elara, wait. No. I'm done waiting. I waited for you to come home tonight. I've been waiting for you to really see me for months while you've been falling for someone else. I'm done. I walked out of that apartment and didn't look back. Marcus called 37 times that night. Sent 42 texts. Showed up at my apartment the next morning, but I wouldn't open the door. I quit my job. Packed up my life. Moved to Portland where my best friend lived. Started over completely. For 3 years, I heard nothing. I blocked his number, avoided news about his company, built a new life. I opened my own small architecture firm. Nothing huge, but it was mine. I dated occasionally, but no one serious. I told myself I was healing, moving on, becoming whole again. I was lying to myself. Because when that wedding invitation arrived with his handwritten note, every wound ripped open like it had happened yesterday. The wedding invitation. "You're not seriously considering this," my best friend Zara said, staring at me like I'd grown a second head. We were sitting in my small office, the invitation spread on my desk between us like evidence of a crime. "I don't know what I'm considering. Elara. The man emotionally cheated on you, chose another woman over you, and now wants you to watch him marry her. That's sadistic. Maybe he wants closure. Or maybe he wants to parade his perfect rich wife in front of you to make himself feel better about his choices." I picked up the invitation. Heavy cardstock, embossed gold lettering. "Marcus Ashford and Vanessa Sterling request your presence at their wedding. Location, Ashford Estate, San Juan Islands. Date, June 15th. 3 months away." His note said he needs to see me. So? You don't owe him anything. You especially don't owe him your presence at his wedding to the woman he left you for. He didn't leave me for her. We broke up before they got together. Zara gave me a look. Technically. But emotionally? He left you for her the moment he caught feelings. Don't rewrite history to make him look better. She was right. I knew she was right. But something in that note called to me. A desperation I recognized from my own sleepless nights. Marcus Ashford, the man who had everything, sounded lost. What if he's having doubts? I heard myself say. Then that's his problem. Not yours. What if he made a mistake? What if he regrets choosing her? Elara, listen to yourself. You're creating a fantasy where he realizes you were the one all along and calls off the wedding and you ride off into the sunset together. That's not going to happen. He's marrying her. The invitation is proof. Then why invite me? Because rich people are dramatic and emotionally stunted and think grand gestures fix everything. I laughed despite myself. That's harsh. It's true. Zara took my hand. I watched you break apart after he hurt you. I watched you cry for months, question your worth, wonder why you weren't enough. I'm not watching you go through that again. I'm different now. Stronger. Are you? Because from where I'm sitting, you're still looking for his approval. Still wondering if maybe you could have been enough if you'd just been different. Her words hit like a slap. I have to go, I said quietly. I need to see him one more time. Need to know if what we had was real or if I imagined it all. And if it was real, then I'll have my answer. And I can finally let go. Zara sighed. I can't stop you. But I'm coming with you. No way you're facing that alone. 3 months later to the wedding. The Ashford estate was exactly what I expected. Sprawling waterfront property on a private island, accessible only by boat. Manicured gardens, a mansion that looked like it belonged in a European countryside, staff in formal attire directing guests. I wore a simple navy dress. Elegant but understated. I refused to look like I was trying too hard or advertising my heartbreak. Zara wore black. For the funeral of your dignity, she joked. We arrived with the other guests, took our seats in the outdoor ceremony space. White chairs arranged in perfect rows, facing a flower-covered arbor with the ocean as backdrop. It was beautiful. Exactly the kind of wedding I'd once imagined for myself. I spotted Marcus before the ceremony started. He was greeting guests, playing the gracious host, looking devastating in his custom tux. Our eyes met across the garden. He stopped mid-conversation. Just stared. Then Vanessa appeared at his side, radiant in her pre-ceremony dress, and his attention snapped back to her. But not before I saw something flash across his face. Pain? Regret? Or just surprised that I'd actually come. You okay? Zara whispered. No. But I will be. The ceremony started. Vanessa walked down the aisle in a dress that probably cost more than my car. She looked perfect. Because of course she did. Marcus watched her approach with an expression I couldn't read. Not quite joy. Not quite dread. Something in between. The officiant began. We're gathered here today. I should have left. Should have stood up and walked out before I had to hear him say those vows. But I stayed. Paralyzed. Watching the man I loved promise forever to someone else. If anyone has reason why these two should not be wed, speak now or forever hold your peace. The traditional pause. No one ever actually objects. It's just ceremony. Except Marcus was looking directly at me. And I was looking back. And in that moment, stretched thin between heartbeats, something passed between us. A question. An invitation. A desperate hope. I opened my mouth. Zara grabbed my hand hard enough to hurt. I closed my mouth. The officiant continued. Then by the power vested in me. Wait. Everyone turned. But the voice wasn't mine. It was Marcus's. He'd stepped back from Vanessa, his face pale, his hands shaking. I'm sorry, he said. Not to the crowd. Not to the officiant. To Vanessa. I can't do this. Gasps rippled through the guests. Vanessa's face went from confused to horrified to furious in seconds. What? I'm sorry, Marcus repeated. I thought I could. I thought this was what I wanted. But I can't marry you when I'm still in love with someone else. His eyes found mine again. Held. Elara, he said. Can we talk? Please? The silence that followed Marcus's declaration was deafening. Vanessa stood frozen at the altar, her bouquet trembling in her hands. Her face had gone from shock to rage, red creeping up her neck. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Her voice cut through the garden like a knife. Marcus flinched but didn't look away from me. Vanessa, I'm so sorry. Sorry? Sorry? She threw her bouquet at him. It hit his chest and fell to the ground. You wait until we're at the altar to tell me you're in love with your ex? Guests were standing now, phones out, capturing every second of this disaster. I wanted the earth to swallow me whole. Elara, please. Marcus started walking toward me, ignoring the chaos erupting around him. I need to talk to you. I couldn't move. Couldn't think. This wasn't happening. This couldn't be happening. Zara grabbed my arm. We're leaving. Now. Wait, Marcus reached for me. Don't touch her, Zara snapped. You've done enough damage. I made a mistake. 3 years ago, I made the biggest mistake of my life, and I've regretted it every single day since. Then why? The words burst out of me before I could stop them. Why did you choose her? Why did you let me walk away? Because I was a coward. Because I thought I wanted the easy path. Someone who understood my world, who didn't challenge me, who fit perfectly into the life I'd built. He was in front of me now, close enough to touch. But that's not love, Elara. That's convenience. You were the one who saw me. Not Marcus Ashford the billionaire. Not the success story or the Forbes list. Just me. And I was too stupid and scared to realize what I had until it was gone. Vanessa appeared beside him, mascara running down her face. You told me you loved me. You asked me to marry you. Was that all a lie? No. I cared about you. I still care about you. But I never stopped loving her. Marcus's voice broke. I tried. God, I tried to move on. To make what we had be enough. But it wasn't. I'm sorry, Vanessa. You deserve someone who loves you completely. That person isn't me. She slapped him. Hard. The crack echoed across the garden. I hope she destroys you the way you just destroyed me. Vanessa stormed off, her bridesmaids rushing after her. The guests erupted into chaos. Marcus's parents appeared, his mother looking mortified, his father furious. We need damage control, his father hissed. Marcus, what were you thinking? I was thinking I'm done pretending. Marcus turned back to me. Elara, please. Give me 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking. You don't get to ask me for anything, I said, my voice shaking. You broke my heart. You made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like I didn't belong in your world. And now you blow up your own wedding because you suddenly realized you made a mistake? That's not romantic, Marcus. That's cruel. I know. You're right. I'm selfish and cruel and I don't deserve another chance. But I'm begging you anyway. His eyes were wet. Marcus Ashford, who never showed weakness, was crying in front of 200 people. 5 minutes. Then if you never want to see me again, I'll respect that. I'll leave you alone forever. But please, let me explain. Zara was pulling on my arm. Every instinct screamed at me to run, to protect myself, to not let this man hurt me again. But there was a part of me, the part that never stopped loving him despite everything, that needed to hear what he had to say. 5 minutes, I said. Not here. Away from all these people. Marcus nodded quickly. My study. In the house. It's private. Elara, don't do this, Zara pleaded. I have to. I need to hear him out. Otherwise, I'll always wonder. I'm waiting right outside that door. You call me if you need me. I followed Marcus through the chaos of shocked guests and murmuring voices. His mother tried to stop him. Marcus, think about what you're doing. I am thinking, Mom. For the first time in 3 years, I'm actually thinking clearly. We walked through the massive house, down corridors lined with art worth more than my entire firm, until we reached a heavy wooden door. His study. He opened it, gestured for me to enter first. The room was exactly like I remembered from the one time I'd visited his family estate years ago. Dark wood, leather chairs, floor-to-ceiling bookshelves. The smell of old books and expensive whiskey. Marcus closed the door behind us. We stood there in the silence, 3 feet apart, the weight of everything unsaid pressing down like atmosphere. I don't know where to start, he said finally. Try the beginning. Try the part where you fell in love with Vanessa while you were engaged to me. I never loved Vanessa. Not the way I loved you. That's worse, Marcus. You destroyed our relationship for someone you didn't even love? I was scared. He collapsed into one of the leather chairs, head in his hands. After my company went public, everything changed. The pressure, the scrutiny, the constant judgment. People analyzed every decision I made, every person I associated with. And you, with God, Elara, you were so independent. So determined to succeed on your own. You refused my help, refused my money, refused to let me make your life easier. Because I wanted to earn my success. I know. And I loved that about you. But I also resented it sometimes. I wanted to take care of you, to show you off, to bring you into my world completely. But you kept one foot out. You kept your tiny apartment even though I had a penthouse. You kept your old car even though I offered to buy you a new one. You kept your separate life even though I wanted to merge our lives completely. So you punished me for wanting independence? No. I punished myself for wanting someone who didn't need me. He looked up at me, eyes red. Vanessa needed me. She came from wealth, but her family lost everything in bad investments. She was working her way back up, but she struggled. She asked for my advice, my help, my support. And I felt useful. I felt needed in a way I never felt with you. The truth of it hit me like ice water. I made you feel unnecessary. You made me feel like a convenience. Like you'd be fine with or without me. And maybe that's my own insecurity talking. Maybe that's my damage from growing up poor and unwanted. But when Vanessa looked at me like I hung the moon, like I was her savior, it felt good, Elara. It felt really good. So you chose her. So I chose the ego boost over real love. Yes. He stood up, paced to the window overlooking the ocean. And I regretted it almost immediately. But I'd already broken your heart. Already ruined what we had. And I thought maybe if I just committed to Vanessa, eventually I'd stop thinking about you. Stop comparing every moment with her to what I had with you. Stop waking up reaching for you and remembering you were gone. It didn't work. It didn't work, he confirmed. Every business success felt hollow because you weren't there to celebrate with me. Every design decision at the company headquarters made me think of you. I'd walk through that building, the one you designed, and feel your absence like a physical ache. You could have called. Could have reached out. And said what? Sorry I broke your heart, want to get back together? You blocked my number, Elara. You moved cities. You made it very clear you were done with me. Because you hurt me. My voice rose despite my attempt to stay calm. You made me feel like I wasn't enough. Like I was too independent, too proud, too unwilling to fit into your world. Do you have any idea what that did to me? I spent months questioning everything about myself. Wondering if I should have been different. Less independent. More accommodating. More willing to be the perfect billionaire's wife. No. Marcus crossed the room to me in 3 strides. No, don't you dare. You were perfect exactly as you were. That was the problem. You were so perfectly yourself that you didn't need me to complete you. And my insecure ass couldn't handle that. So this is about your insecurity, not about actually loving me. It's about both. I was insecure, yes. But I also loved you more than I've ever loved anyone. And those two things got tangled up until I couldn't see straight anymore. Tears were streaming down my face now. You don't get to do this, Marcus. You don't get to blow up your wedding and tell me you never stopped loving me and expect me to just forgive 3 years of pain. I'm not expecting forgiveness. I'm asking for a chance to prove I've changed. How? How have you changed? I've been in therapy for 2 years. Working through my abandonment issues, my need for external validation, my fear of being left. I've learned that real love isn't about needing someone, it's about choosing them even when you don't need them. He reached for my hand. I didn't pull away. You didn't need me, Elara. But you chose me anyway. Every day, you chose to love me despite not needing my money or status or connections. And I was too blind to see how rare and precious that was. And Vanessa? I told her 6 months ago that I still had feelings for you. That I wasn't sure I could go through with the wedding. She convinced me it was cold feet. That everyone has doubts. That once we were married, I'd forget about you. He laughed bitterly. But I couldn't. The closer we got to the wedding, the worse it became. And when you walked into that garden today, looking so beautiful and so sad, I knew I couldn't do it. Couldn't promise forever to someone else when my forever was sitting in the 3rd row, watching me with those eyes that see straight through me. I was shaking. From anger, from grief, from the temptation of believing him. What do you want from me, Marcus? Really? Another chance. A real one. To prove I'm not that scared boy anymore. To show you that I choose you. Not because I need you, but because I want you. Because my life is better with you in it. Because you make me want to be a better man. And if I say no? If I tell you that ship has sailed and I've moved on? Pain flashed across his face. Then I'll accept it. I'll apologize to Vanessa, deal with the fallout, and leave you alone. But I had to try. I had to let you know that leaving you was the biggest mistake of my life. That not a day has gone by where I don't regret it. That if I could go back to that night in my apartment and choose differently, I would. But you can't go back. No. I can only go forward. And I'm asking you, begging you to go forward with me. I pulled my hand away from his. Needed space to think without his touch clouding my judgment. You hurt me so badly, Marcus. You made me doubt myself. Made me feel like loving someone meant making myself smaller. I can't go back to that. I would never ask you to. Elara, your independence is one of the things I love most about you. I was the problem, not you. Never you. How do I know you won't change your mind again? That 6 months from now, you won't meet someone else who makes you feel needed and leave me broken all over again? You don't know. I can't guarantee the future. All I can do is promise that I'll choose you every single day. That I'll do the work to be worthy of your trust. That I'll never take you for granted again. Promises are easy to make and hard to keep. Then let me prove it. Not with words. With actions. Give me a chance to show you I've changed. I walked to the window, looked out at the ocean. At the garden where 200 guests were probably still gossiping about the drama they'd just witnessed. At the ruins of Marcus's wedding day. You just left Vanessa at the altar. Humiliated her in front of everyone she knows. That's not the action of a good man, Marcus. You're right. What I did to her was terrible. I'll spend years making amends for that. But staying with her when I was in love with you would have been worse. She deserved better than half my heart. And what makes you think I want to give you mine again? Nothing. Hope, maybe. Desperation, definitely. He came to stand beside me at the window. But I know you felt it too. In the garden, during that pause. When I looked at you and you looked back. You felt it. The connection we had. It's still there, isn't it? I couldn't lie. Not to him. Not to myself. Yes. It's still there. But that doesn't mean we should act on it. Why not? Because love isn't enough, Marcus. We loved each other 3 years ago and it still fell apart. Because I was immature and scared and stupid. I'm different now. Prove it. The words came out before I could stop them. You want another chance? You want to prove you've changed? Then give me time. Space. Don't push. Don't rush. Let me decide if I can trust you again without pressure. How much time? I don't know. Months. Maybe longer. I'll wait. His response was immediate. I'll wait as long as it takes. And Vanessa? The mess you just created? I'll handle it. I'll apologize, make sure she's taken care of financially, do whatever I can to minimize the damage. But I'm done living a lie. I turned to face him fully. This man who'd broken my heart and was now asking for the pieces back. I need to leave. Need to process all of this away from you. Okay. And Marcus? Don't contact me. When I'm ready to talk, I'll reach out. But if you push, if you try to rush this, I'm done. Permanently. I understand. I walked to the door. Paused with my hand on the handle. Did you mean it? What you said in the garden? That you never stopped loving me? Every word. You were the one that got away. The one I've compared every moment to for 3 years. The standard no one else could meet because they weren't you. That's a lot of pressure to put on a person. I know. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be yourself. That's all I've ever really wanted. I was just too stupid to realize it. I opened the door. Zara was waiting in the hallway, looking concerned. Ready to go? She asked. More than ready. As we walked away, I heard Marcus's voice behind me, quiet but carrying. I love you, Elara Chen. I'll love you until the day I die. Whether you give me another chance or not. I didn't turn around. Didn't respond. Just kept walking. But my heart, my treacherous, stupid heart, was beating faster than it had in 3 years. 6 weeks later. I threw myself into work. Took on new clients, pushed my firm to expand, stayed busy enough that I didn't have time to think about Marcus Ashford and his destroyed wedding and his declaration of love. Except I thought about it constantly. Every quiet moment, my mind drifted back to that study. To his tears. To the raw vulnerability in his voice when he said he'd been in therapy for 2 years. Zara thought I was insane for even considering giving him another chance. He's a disaster, she said over wine one evening. A beautiful, rich, emotionally unavailable disaster. He's in therapy. So are serial killers. Doesn't mean you should date them. He apologized to Vanessa. Publicly. Set up a trust fund for her. Made sure she was financially secure. Because he can afford to throw money at his problems. Must be nice. That's not fair, Zara. Neither is what he did to you 3 years ago. Or what he did to Vanessa 6 weeks ago. She set down her wine glass. Elara, I love you. You're my best friend. And I want you to be happy. But I don't trust him not to hurt you again. I don't trust him either. Not yet. Then why are you defending him? Because. I struggled to find the words. Because people can change. Because he's doing the work. Because maybe he deserves a chance to prove it. Or maybe you're still in love with him and willing to ignore red flags because you want your fairy tale ending. Her words stung because they were partially true. Maybe both things can be true. They can. Just promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you won't give him everything again until you're sure he won't drop it. I promise. But promises to yourself are the easiest ones to break. That night, I pulled out my laptop and did something I'd avoided for 6 weeks. I Googled Marcus Ashford. The wedding disaster was everywhere. Billionaire calls off wedding mid-ceremony for ex-girlfriend. Marcus Ashford's romantic gesture or ultimate betrayal? Vanessa Sterling speaks out after altar abandonment. I clicked on Vanessa's interview. She was composed, dignified, angry. Marcus Ashford is a coward, she said to the reporter. He wasted 3 years of my life because he was too afraid to admit he never got over his ex. I hope she sees him for what he is, someone who runs when things get hard. Ouch. But there were other articles too. About Marcus stepping down from several high-profile boards. About him donating to women's charities in Vanessa's name. About him entering a period of reflection and personal growth. And one interview, given 2 weeks after the wedding disaster, where he was asked directly about me. Do you regret calling off your wedding? I regret hurting Vanessa. That will haunt me forever. But I don't regret telling the truth. Are you hoping to reconcile with Elara Chen? I'm hoping she'll give me the chance to prove I've learned from my mistakes. But whether she does or not, calling off that wedding was the right thing to do. Better to hurt someone before making lifelong vows than after. What would you say to her if she's watching? Marcus had looked directly into the camera. Tired. Sincere. Vulnerable. I'd say I'm sorry. For everything. And that I'm here whenever you're ready. No pressure. No expectations. Just hope. I closed the laptop. Damn him. Damn him for sounding so genuine. For doing exactly what I asked, giving me space while still being present enough that I knew he was waiting. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi, Elara. This is Marcus's mom, Catherine. I got your number from your friend Zara. I hope that's okay. Would you be willing to have lunch with me? I'd like to talk about my son. No pressure if you'd rather not. I stared at the message. Catherine Ashford. The woman who'd always been perfectly polite to me but never quite warm. The woman who'd probably preferred Vanessa's old money pedigree to my middle-class background. Why would she want to talk to me? Okay. And Marcus? Don't contact me. When I'm ready to talk, I'll reach out. But if you push, if you try to rush this, I'm done. Permanently. I understand. I walked to the door. Paused with my hand on the handle. Did you mean it? What you said in the garden? That you never stopped loving me? Every word. You were the one that got away. The one I've compared every moment to for 3 years. The standard no one else could meet because they weren't you. That's a lot of pressure to put on a person. I know. I'm not asking you to be perfect. I'm asking you to be yourself. That's all I've ever really wanted. I was just too stupid to realize it. I opened the door. Zara was waiting in the hallway, looking concerned. Ready to go? She asked. More than ready. As we walked away, I heard Marcus's voice behind me, quiet but carrying. I love you, Elara Chen. I'll love you until the day I die. Whether you give me another chance or not. I didn't turn around. Didn't respond. Just kept walking. But my heart, my treacherous, stupid heart, was beating faster than it had in 3 years. 6 weeks later, I threw myself into work. Took on new clients, pushed my firm to expand, stayed busy enough that I didn't have time to think about Marcus Ashford and his destroyed wedding and his declaration of love. Except I thought about it constantly. Every quiet moment, my mind drifted back to that study. To his tears. To the raw vulnerability in his voice when he said he'd been in therapy for 2 years. Zara thought I was insane for even considering giving him another chance. He's a disaster, she said over wine one evening. A beautiful, rich, emotionally unavailable disaster. He's in therapy. So are serial killers. Doesn't mean you should date them. He apologized to Vanessa. Publicly. Set up a trust fund for her. Made sure she was financially secure. Because he can afford to throw money at his problems. Must be nice. That's not fair, Zara. Neither is what he did to you 3 years ago. Or what he did to Vanessa 6 weeks ago. She set down her wine glass. Elara, I love you. You're my best friend. And I want you to be happy. But I don't trust him not to hurt you again. I don't trust him either. Not yet. Then why are you defending him? Because. I struggled to find the words. Because people can change. Because he's doing the work. Because maybe he deserves a chance to prove it. Or maybe you're still in love with him and willing to ignore red flags because you want your fairy tale ending. Her words stung because they were partially true. Maybe both things can be true. They can. Just promise me you'll be careful. Promise me you won't give him everything again until you're sure he won't drop it. I promise. But promises to yourself are the easiest ones to break. That night, I pulled out my laptop and did something I'd avoided for 6 weeks. I Googled Marcus Ashford. The wedding disaster was everywhere. Billionaire calls off wedding mid-ceremony for ex-girlfriend. Marcus Ashford's romantic gesture or ultimate betrayal? Vanessa Sterling speaks out after altar abandonment. I clicked on Vanessa's interview. She was composed, dignified, angry. Marcus Ashford is a coward, she said to the reporter. He wasted 3 years of my life because he was too afraid to admit he never got over his ex. I hope she sees him for what he is, someone who runs when things get hard. Ouch. But there were other articles too. About Marcus stepping down from several high-profile boards. About him donating to women's charities in Vanessa's name. About him entering a period of reflection and personal growth. And one interview, given 2 weeks after the wedding disaster, where he was asked directly about me. Do you regret calling off your wedding? I regret hurting Vanessa. That will haunt me forever. But I don't regret telling the truth. Are you hoping to reconcile with Elara Chen? I'm hoping she'll give me the chance to prove I've learned from my mistakes. But whether she does or not, calling off that wedding was the right thing to do. Better to hurt someone before making lifelong vows than after. What would you say to her if she's watching? Marcus had looked directly into the camera. Tired. Sincere. Vulnerable. I'd say I'm sorry. For everything. And that I'm here whenever you're ready. No pressure. No expectations. Just hope. I closed the laptop. Damn him. Damn him for sounding so genuine. For doing exactly what I asked, giving me space while still being present enough that I knew he was waiting. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. Hi, Elara. This is Marcus's mom, Catherine. I got your number from your friend Zara. I hope that's okay. Would you be willing to have lunch with me? I'd like to talk about my son. No pressure if you'd rather not. I stared at the message. Catherine Ashford. The woman who'd always been perfectly polite to me but never quite warm. The woman who'd probably preferred Vanessa's old money pedigree to my middle-class background. Why would she want to talk to me? Curiosity won out. Lunch would be fine. When and where? Her response came quickly. Tomorrow? 1 p.m. at Café Madeleine? I'll make reservations. The next day, I dressed carefully. Professional but not trying too hard. I arrived at Café Madeleine 5 minutes early and found Catherine already there, seated at a private table in the back. She stood when she saw me, offered her hand. Elara. Thank you for coming. Mrs. Ashford. Catherine, please. I think we're past formalities. We sat. Ordered. Made awkward small talk about the weather, about my firm, about anything except the elephant in the room. Finally, over salads neither of us was really eating, Catherine set down her fork. I owe you an apology. I blinked. For what? For never fully accepting you when you were with Marcus. For making you feel like you weren't good enough for our family. For preferring Vanessa because she came from our world. She met my eyes. I was wrong. And I'm sorry. I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything. I just needed you to know. She took a sip of water. Marcus came to see me last week. We had a long conversation about his therapy, about what he's learned, about you. And for the first time, I really listened to what he was saying instead of hearing what I wanted to hear. What did he say? That you were the best thing that ever happened to him. That you challenged him to be better, to think bigger, to see beyond wealth and status. That you loved him for who he was, not what he had. Catherine's eyes were soft. And that he was too stupid and scared to appreciate it until it was too late. He said all that? And more. He talked about how you refused his money, his help, his attempts to make your life easier. How it frustrated him at the time, but now he sees it as strength. As integrity. She leaned forward. Elara, I've known my son his entire life. I've watched him build an empire, achieve incredible success, date dozens of women. And I've never seen him as happy as he was with you. Or as devastated as he was when you left. He chose to let me go. Because he was afraid. Because he thought he wanted someone who needed him instead of someone who chose him. She paused. I made similar mistakes when I was younger. Married Marcus's father because he was stable and safe, not because I loved him passionately. We're divorced now, as you probably know. I spent 20 years with the wrong person because I was afraid to choose the right one. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm telling you this because I don't want Marcus to make the same mistake. And I don't want you to lose another 3 years to pride or fear or justified anger. You think I should give him another chance. I think you should do whatever makes you happy. But I also think my son has genuinely changed. The work he's doing in therapy, the way he handled the aftermath of the wedding, the way he's respected your boundaries, that's not the scared boy who let you walk away. That's a man who's learned what matters. I sat back, processing. Why are you telling me this? Why do you care if we get back together? Because despite how it may have seemed, I do want my son to be happy. And because I see the way you two look at each other. Like you're home. Like everything else is just noise. Catherine smiled sadly. That's rare, Elara. True connection like that is rare. If you have even a chance of making it work, it's worth fighting for. We finished lunch with easier conversation. Catherine asked about my firm, my projects, my life in Portland. She was warm, genuinely interested, the way she'd never been before. As we parted, she squeezed my hand. Whatever you decide, I hope you know you'd be welcome in our family. Not as Marcus's girlfriend or wife, but as yourself. You already belong. I drove home with her words echoing in my mind. That night, I made a decision. I texted Marcus for the first time in 6 weeks. Can we talk? In person? His response came within seconds. Yes. Whenever you want. Wherever you want. Tomorrow. 2 p.m., the coffee shop on Pike Street. The one where we used to meet during the headquarters project. I'll be there. I barely slept that night. Rehearsed what I wanted to say 100 times. Changed my outfit 4 times the next morning. Zara called as I was leaving. Are you really doing this? I have to. One way or another, I need closure. Just protect your heart, okay? Don't give him everything again until you're sure. I won't. I promise. I arrived at the coffee shop 15 minutes early. Ordered my usual. Sat at the table in the corner where Marcus and I used to spend hours discussing design concepts and life and everything in between. He arrived exactly at 2 p.m. Not early, not late. Respecting my boundaries even in small things. He looked different. Thinner. More tired. But also somehow lighter, like he'd set down a heavy burden. Hi, he said, standing by the table awkwardly. Hi. Sit down. He sat. Ordered coffee when the barista came by. We waited in silence until she'd left. Thank you for agreeing to meet with me, Marcus said finally. I talked to your mother yesterday. Surprise crossed his face. She didn't tell me she was reaching out. I'm sorry if. Don't apologize. I'm glad she did. I wrapped my hands around my coffee cup. She said you've changed. That the therapy is working. That you understand now what you didn't understand before. I have. I do. He leaned forward, earnest. I've spent 2 years unpacking my damage, Elara. My fear of abandonment, my need for external validation, my tendency to self-sabotage when things get too real. I've learned that real love isn't about needing someone to complete you, it's about choosing someone who makes you want to be better. Pretty words. I know. Words are easy. Actions are what matter. He pulled out his phone, showed me his therapy appointments. Weekly sessions, sometimes twice a week. 2 years of consistent work. I'm not perfect. I'm still learning. But I'm trying. Why? I asked. Why do all this work? Why not just move on? Find someone new who doesn't come with all this baggage? Because I don't want someone new. I want you. I've always wanted you. His voice cracked. And because I needed to do this work for myself, whether you gave me another chance or not. I needed to understand why I destroyed the best thing in my life. Why I was so afraid of real love that I ran towards something safe instead. And what did you learn? That my whole life, people wanted me for what I could provide. My parents loved me, but they also pushed me to succeed, to achieve, to be someone important. My friends in college wanted access to my money. The women I dated wanted the lifestyle. Everyone needed something from me. He met my eyes. Except you. You didn't need anything. You wanted me anyway. And that terrified me because I didn't know how to be loved just for being myself. I only knew how to be loved for what I could do. The honesty of it hit me hard. So you chose Vanessa because she needed you. Yes. Because needing felt like love to me. But it wasn't. It was just transactional. He reached across the table, stopped short of touching me. You taught me the difference. It took losing you to understand it, but you taught me that real love is choosing someone without needing them. It's wanting them in your life because they make it better, richer, fuller. Not because they complete you, but because they complement you. That's very insightful. 2 years of therapy should provide some insight. He smiled sadly. Elara, I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve another chance. But I'm asking anyway because I've never stopped loving you. Because every success feels empty without you to share it with. Because I wake up every morning and the first thought I have is wondering if today is the day you'll text me. I'm scared, I admitted. Scared you'll change your mind again. Scared I'll give you my heart and you'll drop it. Scared this is just another grand gesture that will fall apart when real life gets hard. I'm scared too. Scared you'll never trust me again. Scared I've damaged us beyond repair. Scared I don't deserve the gift you're considering giving me. He finally took my hand. I let him. But I'd rather be scared with you than safe without you. How do I know this is real? How do I know you won't wake up in 6 months and decide I'm still too independent, still not needy enough, still not fitting into your world the way you want? You don't know. I can't guarantee the future. All I can do is promise to choose you every day. To do the work to be worthy of your trust. To never take you for granted again. He squeezed my hand. And I can show you. Not with words. With consistent action over time. Let me prove it, Elara. Please. I looked at this man. This brilliant, broken, beautiful man who'd shattered my heart and was now kneeling metaphorically before me, asking for the pieces back. If we do this, it's not going to be like before. I'm not moving to Seattle. My firm is here in Portland, and I'm building something I'm proud of. I'll move. My company can operate from anywhere. I'll get a place in Portland, commute to Seattle when needed. I'm not giving up my independence. I won't let you pay for things or buy me expensive gifts or try to make my life easier by throwing money at it. I respect that. I'll respect all your boundaries. And we're going slow. Really slow. Dating. Getting to know each other again. No rushing into living together or getting engaged or any of that. As slow as you need. And therapy. If we're doing this, we're doing couples counseling. I need a neutral space to work through my trust issues. Already looked into therapists in Portland. I have a list if you want to choose. I almost smiled. Of course he'd already done the research. You're really serious about this. More serious than I've been about anything in my life. I took a deep breath. Thought about everything I'd been through. The pain, the growth, the slow rebuilding of myself. Thought about Catherine's words, true connection like that is rare. Thought about the way my heart still jumped when Marcus walked into a room. The way I still looked for him in crowds. The way I'd never quite moved on despite 3 years of trying. Okay, I said quietly. Hope blazed across his face. Okay? Okay, we can try. Slowly. Carefully. With lots of communication and boundaries and therapy. But if you hurt me again, Marcus, if you make me feel small or unwanted or like I'm not enough, I'm done. Permanently. No more chances. I understand. And I won't. I swear to you, Elara, I won't waste this gift. He lifted my hand to his lips, kissed my knuckles gently. Thank you. Thank you for being brave enough to try again. Don't thank me yet. I might still change my mind tomorrow. Then I'll prove myself tomorrow too. And the day after that. And every day for as long as you'll let me. We sat there for another hour, talking about logistics, about expectations, about fears. It wasn't romantic or dramatic. It was real. Two damaged people deciding to try to build something together despite the odds. When we finally left the coffee shop, Marcus walked me to my car. Can I hug you? He asked. Or is that too much too soon? In answer, I stepped into his arms. He held me carefully, like I was something precious and fragile. Like he was afraid I'd disappear if he held too tight. I love you, he whispered into my hair. I never stopped. I know, I said. I never stopped either. That's why this is so scary. We'll figure it out. Together this time. I pulled back, looked up at him. Together. But as partners. Equals. Not savior and saved. Not billionaire and struggling architect. Just two people choosing each other. Just two people choosing each other, he echoed. I can do that. Marcus kept his promises. He moved to Portland within a month. Bought a condo downtown, close enough to see me regularly but separate enough to respect my space. He commuted to Seattle twice a week for company business, but his life was centered in Portland. Centered on building something real with me. We went to therapy. Weekly sessions where we unpacked our damage, learned to communicate, worked through trust issues and fear and the scars left by our past. It was hard, uncomfortable work. But it was necessary. Marcus proved himself in small ways. Remembered my coffee order. Showed up when he said he would. Listened when I talked about my projects. Celebrated my successes without trying to take credit or make them about him. Respected my boundaries even when it was hard. He proved himself in big ways too. Turned down a major business opportunity that would have required months in Asia because it would have taken him away from me. Supported my firm's expansion by referring clients but never taking credit. Showed up at my office one day with lunch and a portfolio of designs I'd worked on over the years. He'd kept every blueprint, every sketch, every proposal, even after we broke up. I wanted to remember, he said simply. Even when it hurt, I wanted to remember what we'd built together. We fought sometimes. Had disagreements about money, about time, about the fundamental differences in our lifestyles. But we learned to fight fair. To listen instead of just defending. To compromise instead of one of us always giving in. My firm landed a major project, a sustainable housing development that would define my career. Marcus was the first person I told. You did it, he said, picking me up and spinning me around my office. You fucking did it. All on your own. With your talent and vision and hard work. You helped. Your referral got me the meeting. I got you in the door. You closed the deal. Don't diminish what you accomplished. That was the difference. Old Marcus would have wanted credit, would have made it about his connections. New Marcus celebrated my achievement without needing to claim any part of it. 6 months in, we were having dinner at my apartment when Marcus set down his fork and looked at me with an expression I couldn't quite read. What? I asked. I have something I want to talk to you about. And I need you to hear me out before you respond. My stomach clenched. That sounds ominous. It's not. At least, I hope it's not. He took a breath. I want to ask you to marry me. My heart stopped. Marcus. Wait. Let me finish. He held up his hand. I want to ask you to marry me, but I'm not going to. Not yet. I'm confused. I know we said we'd go slow. And we have been. And it's been good, better than good. But I also know that every time I mention future plans or talk about us long term, you get this look. Like you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. He wasn't wrong. Despite 6 months of consistent effort, despite therapy and communication and all the right actions, there was still a part of me that held back. That waited for him to change his mind again. I need you to know that I want to marry you, Marcus continued. I want to build a life with you, have a family with you, grow old with you. All of it. But I also know you're not ready to hear that yet. You're not ready to trust that I won't run. Tears pricked my eyes. I'm trying. I know you are. And I'm not pressuring you. I'm telling you this because I want you to know where I stand. That I'm all in. That I'm not going anywhere. That whenever you're ready, 6 months from now, a year, 5 years, I'll still be here, choosing you. What if I'm never ready? What if I can't get past what happened? Then I'll love you anyway. For as long as you'll let me. He reached across the table, took my hand. But I don't think that's true. I think you're healing. I think you're learning to trust me again. And I think eventually you'll believe that this is real. How can you be so patient? Because you're worth waiting for. Because what we have is worth fighting for. Because I already lost you once by being impatient and selfish. I'm not making that mistake again. I stood up, walked around the table, and climbed into his lap. Wrapped my arms around his neck and buried my face in his shoulder. I love you, I said, muffled against his shirt. I'm scared and damaged and still learning to trust, but I love you. I love you too. Scared, damaged, and all. We sat like that for a long time, holding each other, breathing together. Ask me again, I whispered. What? I pulled back to look at him. In a year. If we make it a year and I've done the work to really trust you again, ask me then. Hope and joy and love flooded his face. Yeah. I can't promise what my answer will be, but I can promise I'll have one. A real one. Not one based on fear or old wounds, but one based on who we are now and what we've built together. 1 year, he said. I can do that. 1 year, I confirmed. And Marcus? Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for giving me a chance I didn't deserve. 18 months after the destroyed wedding, Marcus and I stood in the atrium of the building I designed for his company. The one where he'd first proposed 5 years ago. He'd asked me to meet him here, said he had something to show me. Some design flaw in the building that needed my expert opinion. I'd known it was a lie the moment he said it. There were no design flaws. But I'd come anyway, curious and nervous and hopeful. The atrium was different than I remembered. Filled with flowers, thousands of them. Daisies and tulips, my favorites. The same ones he'd brought to our first real date after the wedding disaster. Marcus, what is this? He stood in the center of it all, wearing jeans and a simple sweater, looking nothing like the billionaire he was and everything like the man I'd fallen in love with. This is me keeping a promise, he said. You told me to ask again in a year. It's been 13 months. I wanted to give you extra time. Make sure you were really ready. My heart was hammering. And if I'm not, then we'll wait longer. But I'm hoping you are. Because I've spent 18 months proving myself, and I hope, you finally believe that I'm not going anywhere. He was right. Somewhere over the past year and a half, the fear had faded. The waiting for him to leave, to change his mind, to decide I wasn't enough, it had slowly dissolved under the weight of consistent love and effort. I'd stopped holding my breath waiting for disaster. Started believing in us again. Marcus pulled a small box from his pocket. Not the same ring from 5 years ago. Something new. Elara Chen, you are the most brilliant, independent, stubborn, incredible person I've ever known. You challenge me to be better. You see me, really see me, in a way no one else ever has. You didn't need me, but you chose me anyway. And that choice, every single day, is the greatest gift of my life. He opened the box. The ring was simple, elegant. A sapphire surrounded by small diamonds. Blue like the dress I wore to the charity gala where everything changed. I'm not asking you to be my wife because I need you. I'm asking because I choose you. Because my life is better with you in it. Because I want to build a future together as partners, as equals, as two whole people who make each other stronger. He knelt down, proper and formal, in the center of all those flowers. Will you marry me? Not because it's expected or because enough time has passed or because it makes sense. But because you love me and trust me and believe in what we're building together? I looked at him. This man who'd broken my heart and then spent 18 months carefully, patiently putting it back together. Who'd done the work to understand himself, to change, to become someone worthy of trust. Who'd proven over and over that he wouldn't run, wouldn't choose someone else, wouldn't make me feel small. Who'd chosen me every single day for 18 months without asking for anything in return except the chance to keep choosing me. Yes, I said, and the word felt like freedom. Yes, I'll marry you. Marcus's face transformed. He stood up, slipped the ring on my finger, and kissed me like I was oxygen and he'd been drowning. Thank you, he whispered against my lips. Thank you for trusting me again. For believing in us. For being brave enough to try. Thank you for waiting. For doing the work. For proving that people can change if they really want to. I really wanted to. You were worth every second. He pulled back, gestured to the atrium around us. I have one more surprise. More than this? He laughed. Look up. I did. And gasped. Projected on the glass ceiling of the atrium were blueprints. My blueprints. For the new sustainable housing development. The project that had defined my career. What is this? Your designs. The ones that are going to change how we think about affordable housing. I wanted you to see them the way I see them, as art. As brilliance. As proof that you don't need anyone to make you successful. You did this yourself. Tears streamed down my face. This is the most thoughtful thing anyone's ever done for me. You deserve to be celebrated. For your talent, your vision, your incredible mind. He held me close. I'm so proud of you, Elara. Not because you're with me, but because of everything you are on your own. That was when I knew. Really, truly knew. That this was real. That he'd changed. That we'd made it through the worst and come out stronger on the other side. I love you, I said. I love you so much it terrifies me sometimes. Love should be a little terrifying. It means it matters. He kissed my forehead. But I promise I'll never give you a reason to be terrified of losing me again. I'm yours, Elara. For as long as you'll have me. Forever then. I'll have you forever. The wedding 1 year later. We got married on a beach in Oregon. Small ceremony, just close friends and family. Nothing like the elaborate disaster of his almost wedding to Vanessa. Zara was my maid of honor, crying openly as I walked down the aisle. I'm so happy you proved me wrong, she'd said that morning while helping me get ready. I thought he'd hurt you again. I'm glad he didn't. Me too. Catherine Ashford sat in the front row, beaming. She'd become an unexpected friend over the past 2 years. Someone who understood complicated relationships and second chances. Marcus's father was there too, looking uncomfortable in the casual beach setting but trying. Their relationship was still a work in progress, but it was progress. And Marcus. Standing at the altar in a simple suit, barefoot in the sand, eyes locked on me like I was the only person in the world. I'd written my own vows. Read them with a steady voice despite my trembling hands. Marcus, 5 years ago you broke my heart. 2 years ago you asked for a second chance. And every day since, you've proven that people can change if they're willing to do the work. You've shown me that real love isn't about needing someone, it's about choosing them. Every single day. In the big moments and the small ones. When it's easy and when it's hard. You've chosen me. And today, I'm choosing you. Not because I need you to complete me, but because you make me want to be the best version of myself. Because you see me, celebrate me, support me without trying to change me. Because you're my partner in every sense of the word. I love you. And I choose you. Today and every day for the rest of our lives. Marcus's vows were simpler. He'd never been good with public speaking unless it was about business. Elara, I've made a lot of mistakes in my life. Letting you walk away was the biggest one. Getting you back was the best thing I've ever done. You taught me that love isn't about possession or need, it's about partnership. About two whole people building something together. You make me better. You challenge me. You see through my bullshit and love me anyway. He smiled through tears. I don't deserve you. But I promise to spend the rest of my life trying to. I love you. I choose you. Always. The officiant pronounced us married. Marcus kissed me like we were the only two people on the beach. Maybe in that moment, we were. The reception was relaxed, casual. Good food, better wine, people we actually cared about. No society photographers, no performance, no pressure to be anything except ourselves. During our first dance, Marcus pulled me close. "No regrets?" he asked quietly. "Not a single one." "You?" "My only regret is the 3 years we lost. But maybe we needed that time. Needed to become who we are now so we could build this." "Maybe," I agreed. "Or maybe we're just really good at making lemonade from lemons." He laughed. "The most expensive, dramatic lemons in history." "Hey, you're the one who blew up your own wedding." "Best decision I ever made." We swayed together, and I felt peaceful. Whole. Not because I'd found someone to complete me, but because I'd found myself again. And then found someone who celebrated that self instead of trying to change it. Later, as the sun set over the ocean and our guests danced on the sand, Zara pulled me aside. "You look happy," she said. "Really, genuinely happy." "I am." "Good. You deserve it." She squeezed my hand. "And if he ever hurts you again, I'll kill him." "Noted. But I don't think you'll need to." "Me neither. He looks at you like you hung the moon." "He looks at me like I'm his equal." "That's better than the moon." Zara laughed. "Okay, that's disgustingly healthy. I'm proud of you. Thanks for sticking with me through all of it. The breakup, the wedding disaster, the slow rebuilding. I couldn't have done it without you. That's what best friends are for. Talking you off ledges and helping you take leaps of faith. This was definitely a leap of faith. But you landed it. You both did." Marcus and I stood in the living room of our house, the one we designed together, built together, filled with both our tastes and compromises, and looked at the chaos around us. Moving boxes. Baby supplies. The organized disaster of two successful people trying to prepare for a massive life change. I was 7 months pregnant. We'd waited 3 years after the wedding to try for kids. Wanted to make sure our foundation was solid, our careers were stable, our relationship could handle the stress. It had been the right decision. We'd needed that time to just be us. To travel, to work, to grow individually and together. "We're going to be terrible at this," I said, staring at the crib instructions. "Probably," Marcus agreed. "But we'll figure it out. Together." "Together," I repeated. The word had become our mantra. Our reminder that we were partners in everything. Marcus's company had expanded internationally. My firm had grown to 20 employees. We were both successful on our own terms, in our own fields. We supported each other's careers without competition or resentment. "Hey," Marcus said, pulling me into his arms as best he could around my belly. "Remember when you thought I'd change my mind? Get bored? Leave?" "Vaguely." "Have I?" "No. You've been annoyingly consistent." He laughed. "Sorry for being a reliable husband. I forgive you." We stood there, in our house, with our life scattered around us in boxes, waiting for our daughter to arrive. It wasn't perfect. We still fought sometimes, still had to work through issues, still had moments of doubt or fear. But it was real. And it was ours. My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. I opened it without thinking. "Hi, Elara. This is Vanessa. I know this is random, but I wanted to reach out. I got married last year to someone wonderful. Someone who chose me first. And I realized I never properly forgave Marcus for what happened. Or you. I was angry for a long time. But I'm happy now. And I hope you both are too. No need to respond. I just wanted you to know that I'm okay. And that I'm grateful, in a weird way, that Marcus was honest instead of going through with a marriage that would have been a lie. Wishing you both the best." I showed Marcus the text. He read it, looking surprised and relieved. Should I respond? I asked. Only if you want to. I thought about it. About Vanessa standing at that altar, humiliated and hurt. About the courage it took to send that message. I typed back, "Thank you for reaching out. I'm so glad you found your person. And I'm sorry for the pain that came before. Wishing you all the happiness in the world." Her response came quickly, "You too. Take care of him. He's better than he used to be." I will. I set down my phone and looked at Marcus. This man who'd broken my heart and then spent years earning it back. Who'd proven that people can change if they want to badly enough. Who'd chosen me every single day until I finally believed he wouldn't stop. "What are you thinking?" he asked. "That this is a really good story." "Our story?" "Yeah. It's messy and complicated and dramatic as hell. But it's ours. And I love it. Even the painful parts? Especially the painful parts. They made the good parts better." I kissed him softly. Besides, I walked away heartbroken. And the billionaire fought for my love. That's pretty romantic when you think about it. Marcus laughed. "Is that how you're going to tell it?" "That's exactly how I'm going to tell it. To our daughter. To our friends. To anyone who'll listen. You're leaving out the part where I destroyed a wedding and created a tabloid scandal. Minor details. The important part is you chose me. And I chose you back. And we built something real. We did, didn't we?" If this story moved you, hit that like button and subscribe for more real-life stories about love, betrayal, and redemption. Have you ever had to make an impossible choice for your own well-being? Share your story in the comments below. This is a judgment